All right, we're in the 2020 St. Patrick's Day tournament. We're in the opening round of the rookie division. And coming into it, I've got, I'm just going to play two accounts. I'm super busy with all the stuff that's going on. And I'm only going to play my 77 and my 99 account. I'm going to let one of my teammates play my odd account, see who wants to play it. So I'm just going to play, I'm going to forego some practice that I would normally get in my odd account, prepping up my 77. So we'll just have to go out there. I've spent the entire week up to this point. My first goal, we're on hole number 2. My first goal is always to come out and establish what ball and what clubs I'm bringing and which direction I'm going. And then once I get that established and I get a game plan, then I start working on wind adjustment. So I'm right where I normally am in tournaments. I've established what ball, what club, what secondary club I'm bringing, what direction I'm going, and where I want to end up as far as landing zones and what angles I'm coming at it. And now it's all about wind adjustment. So today, if I can get, I think so far up to this point, I've hit probably 3 perfect shots all week. So today is all about is attempting to hit perfect going into the cup. So I can work the wind adjustments. Some of the holes I already have some wind adjustments for, and I know that those wind adjustments are good either from previous tournaments or on some of these par 3s. I've already worked it out. But on the par 5s, 2 of the par 5s, the first par 5 and the mid par 5, I'm trying. What the deal is, I'm always close on those holes, so I'm changing it up. If you're always close and you don't change anything, you're always going to be close. And I don't want to be always close. I want to be in the hole. So I'm making a different adjustment on it just to see. And I'm going to keep working a different adjustment until I figure it out, until I can get one in the hole. So that's what this is all. That's the way my progression works throughout the week. Is I'm at the point where I absolutely want to be, where now I'm working just strictly on wind adjustment. So on this hole right here, and let's go in the game. I guess it would help if I went and picked out a bag. I'm going to shoot this video in 9 holes, and I'll pause it in between and breaks and do the stuff. We're on a break right now, so I'm going to play a hole or 2, and then I'm going to go get back at it. All right, what's hole number 1? Hole number 1, Grizzly Navigator. Nav. What is the nav? It's 1 power ball. I don't have any low wind 1 power ball, so that's it. That's the deal. And I'm using about a half a backspin. I'm dialing in the side spin. I've got my white ring off the transitional surface, and I'm doing a 15% wind adjustment. And then I'm going to solve world peace and the coronavirus stuff, and we'll do that. We'll do that before we do this adjustment. So it's actually pretty easy. White ring off, half a backspin. Dial in the side spin. Set it up first, get it aimed right at it, then make my wind adjustment. My brain's half working, so I am using a calculator. But I use a calculator. I don't use a calculator all the time. When you got the full 10% or 20%, and on drives, I hardly ever. Those aren't the ones. The money shot here is the shot going into the green, and so these 15% ones where you're dealing with the 15% ones, it's really easy to get off. So I am using a calculator for the 15%, and man, that is so. They're lucky they're in the back of the green, because if they hit that pin high on the left hand side, they are in the rough. It rolls off really fast. White ring off the transitional surface. Half a backspin, dialing up the side spin to go right at the cup. I'm going right at it. Just a little bit on the left-hand edge of that cup. 2 times 2.2. It's 2.53 rings. 2, 5. And I got that 3. You see me get that 3 in there? That fraction of math, I got that. It was perfect. Oh, now we're going to start the day off with a great to the left. Arrgh! And that shot's right on the money. I got my adjustments right. I switched. I started the week off. I was at 20%, and I was at one backspin and I was working. Usually on these par threes, my focus to start off with is not the wind adjustments. My focus is speed. And the one backspin was leaving me a little bit short. And so while I was working on my speed, I was trying a 20% wind adjustment and I was just a little off. Switched to 15 and was in the hole. So I like the shot there. It's just a matter, you got to hit it perfect. It's all these shots, these par threes and the par fours. I'm really super focused on the par fours. The par fours, I've got shots set up that are either in my max wedge or my minimum short iron. And if I hit those shots perfect going into the cup, it's going in the hole. So the par fours I have dialed in. I'm still working on the par fives. Those are the ones. And hole number 4, with the way that the wind is there, I've changed my shot a little bit to give me a little bit more room for maneuver. And this hole right here, we can also have problems with the red line if the wind is too high. If the wind is over about 3.5, 4 miles per hour and you don't have a low wind ball, I'm taking a 0 power ball there. If the wind is any higher than 3.5, 4, you're hitting your red line. So I'm gonna use the same club on that hole, but I've got 2 different shots depending on how high the wind is. It's getting those adjustments so that you know when the weekend round comes. You don't want to be stuck on, especially on holes like that where we're having some kind of issue. If you're having an issue, look at what your secondary, what you can do, and be cognizant of the wind. So if it's not right and you know it's not going to be right, you can immediately switch to your option B. Okay, hole number 2. Hole number 2. Da 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 da. Is Drew Moore Links hole number 8. All right. No, that's not right. No, I guess it is. Yes, this is right. All right, I'm trying to get onto this island right here, and I'm just trying to work out the topspin stuff and the wind adjustment. So I'm going to do 6 topspin, which you can get with an extra mile 8. I'm going to do plus 20 on the wind because it's carrying a little bit farther down there. I put on 6.5 and I just clipped it and then rolled out the front. And so I'm trying to clip the rough and just bleed out onto it. I'm taking a Kingmaker. And you can do this with a Titan. I'm only taking the Kingmaker, so on the second shot, I'm cutting the wind down on the second shot. But a Titan, the king of balls, will work absolutely perfect on this. But if you have Kingmakers in your inventory, use them. And I'm bringing an extra mile and a rapier. That's it. That's all I need. That's all I need. And this lamp. All right, here we go. Today, my goal today is obviously I want to standardize I've worked so far this week to standardize the minimum score. You need to pick up 9. That puts us at minus 24. And my goal is to pick up 3 per side, and that's all 3 of the par 4s. So my target is minus 30. But I'm not as concerned about shooting the minus 30 today as I am on some of these holes of just working out 3. Is that 6? If I can learn how to count today, that is 6. It's 2. I'm going to do a 2-4 pull. There's 2-1. A little over a ring. And I'm trying to just hit a perfect no overpower. And I hit it great to the left. That should not have any bearing as long as I got my distance right where it can bleed out there. Bleed it out there. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for right there. That's max wedge from right there. Obviously, I would have liked to have been in the center because if it did hit there a little fat, it could have rolled off into that. And I could help myself out there by putting on a little bit more side spin so that the ball is coming more towards the center. I had it bleeding off a little bit in that direction. So maybe 2 side spin. And I'm setting it up here where my ball guide's out. I've moved it over to the left. If you go back and rewind that, I move it over to the left so that I'm dead center in the middle. and then taking the wind out, I want to give myself plenty of room there. So if I hit a grate to the left or the right, it's not going to affect that original landing zone. Because you don't want that to happen. All right, it's 1.3 per ring. There's max. I'm right at my max. It's a 1.3 per ring. There's a little bit of backspin on it. Dial it up to the cup. Make sure it's going to bounce in the hole if I hit it perfect. 1.3 per ring. So 3.1 divided by 1.3. It's 2.4 rings. There's 2. There's a half, so we're a little less than that. Now, if I hit this perfect, it'll go in the hole. Isn't it perfect? In the hole! Woo! That's what I'm talking about right there. That's the deal on all 3 of these par 4s. The shot that I have set up on there, I've got those wind adjustments right. I'm 100% confident of where I'm at on the par 4s. It's just a matter of hitting it perfect into the cup. And regardless of how you play the par 5s or the par 3s, if you play the minimum score on the par 5s and the par 3s and you get those the 3 par 4s, you have to pick up hole number 9. You got to get the eagle on hole number 9. I'm not worried about Albie. The Albie is not even in the words on hole number 9. It's just picking up the eagle. You're at minus 15. That's minus 30 for the round. And if you pick up a par 3 or you pick up an Albie on a par 5, that's just gravy. I believe that in the weekend round, in most brackets, not all, but in most brackets, if you come in with a minus 30, you're going to be in the hunt for a win. And you're surely in most brackets going to be in the hunt for a banner. So going out there and just shooting those par 4s and focusing on getting those right. And my focus from the beginning of the week has been on those par 4s, just working on them. So I'm still working on the par 5s. And here's the deal. Okay, we're on the first of the par 5s here. And we're on hole number 3. I've set the shot up for the drive to put me out here so that my sniper is engaged right on the other side of the sand. And depending on your club levels, if you've got a lower developed QB or if you're using a rock, whichever you're using to get you out here or whatever you're using, and depending on your distance out here, especially if you're using a lower level QB, you're going to be back a little bit further. And the shot coming up here, you're probably going to have to come at it with either a Guardian, if you've got a Guardian that's in the 175 or longer distance, or you may have to bring a big dog. And so that shot coming into the cup up here, I'm not sure on the shot coming up to the cup what the wind adjustment is. And I have no idea what the community is saying the wind adjustment could be, because if all I was doing was regurgitating what the community says on that, then, that's not the way I play. So my deal is I haven't hit a shot into the cup perfect all week. And I'm going to I know that I consistently end up to the left of the cup and the wind is blowing this direction. So it feels like I'm over pulling it. So I'm going to use a minus 10% adjustment to the cup. And I have no idea whether that adjustment's right or not. But I do know that here's the cup, here's the flagpole, that on this hole, I'm always like this, and I'm never in the hole. And so if I don't make some change, I'm going to continue to end up like this. So if you're always like this, you're like, man, I'm always close. I'm so close. And you do the same thing the next time, guess what? You're going to be so close. And I'm not that type of player. I'll make a change whether it's right or wrong, because you'll never know unless you start making changes. So nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I'm doing a minus 10. And if I can hit it perfect into the cup, then I will immediately know whether that is on track or off track. And it really is going to depend on where you're at out here. You could be in one spot out here and I could be up here at the front, and we may have to use a different wind adjustment. So this is part of developing your game. Don't be caught up in what the community says, like, well, everybody's doing. Who cares what everybody else is doing? You have to work it out for your stuff. And it's like this setup shot. Everybody out there's got different clubs in their bag at different levels, and you have to You have to work out what's best for your clubs. If you learn nothing more from my channel of just like playing the consistent round, my goal is to help you get out there in the perfect spot, and then it's your job to try and get it in the cup. And hopefully, like if you're always right there, don't be afraid to make changes. Just because somebody said this is what they're using, don't be afraid to move off of that. If you're constantly a little off, you will continue to be constantly a little off unless you make a change. That's the cool thing about this game is that there can be 50 people playing a hole, playing it 50 different ways, and we can have very similar results if you know how to use the wind rings. All right, I got that set up. Kingfisher, rock sniper. Let me look at that one more time. All right, let me look at it one more time. I just grabbed those real quick. Rock sniper. That's all I need. That's all I need. Okay, and if you're with I played this in my odd account in my practice stuff. I'm using a QB, just to demo a QB for most of you. And it depends on where your QB level is as far as curl. But with my QB, I was 5 rings off. And with my rock, I'm going to be 3 3/4 rings off. I'm putting on 4 topspin, 5 side spin, maximum curl. 3 3/4 rings off the transitional surface. And this is a pure 100% setup shot. The drive on this hole is a layup. And so the whole deal is I'm not concerned about the layup. I'm concerned about trying to get into the hole. So when you're doing a layup shot, you want to standardize it so that every time you go to that hole, you do that adjustment, take out the wind, and bam, you're in the same spot. Now you can focus on the shot that you came to this hole for. This is one of the reasons why I don't like hitting it forward, because this rough is uphill and it's inconsistent. If you can get through that, there are times where you come here and you're like, yeah, man, I blew through that 4 times. It was super easy. And then the 5th time you're in the rough and now you can't get on, or you struggle to get on. If you have a Nirvana, you can get on, but you could struggle really easy because you get caught up in the rough, just like that right there. I mean, I'm sure they've come out here and went, yeah, that's the shot, man. I've been up in there. And then we're in the opening round. The first time through, you're in the rough. I'm not interested in ever being in the rough on a layup shot. 3 3/4 rings, 4 and 5. Taking out the wind. It's 2 miles per hour, 2 rings. Max curl. Hit 1 ring great to the left. Last time I was here to hit 1 ring great to the right on that setup, and it had room, and now we're going to test the 1 ring great to the left. The only thing on this is whether you bleed forward too much. And I took a little bit of topspin off. At the beginning of the week, I was putting on all the topspin, which is only like 4 1/3. But that third, it looked like if I hit it great to the left, it would bleed into the rough. So I took a little bit of topspin off so that now I know, because the last time I was here, I hit it great to the right. I know I can hit a great 1 ring great to the right. I can hit a perfect, and I can hit a 1 ring great to the left on that shot, and I'm in the middle of the fairway. If I hit a 2 ring great on either side, I'm in big trouble. But let's not do that. I'm setting my shots up, so why wouldn't I set them up so that I can give myself some leeway? And this is 90% of the people I see in this game when I'm playing. They go from the rough to the rough. And I'm taking 10% off at max club. It's very little adjustment here, and you do not want to use any curl. A little short of the cup. The ball guide is lying slightly, and I want to go towards the left-hand edge, so it's 2.7. So I'm going to take 2 off. That's 2.5. Be 2.4. Somewhere in that neighborhood. So there's 2.5, 2.4. Now let's see if I can catch the first perfect of the freaking week into this hole. And I hit it great. And it'll definitely end up. Really still concerned about speed. That speed was perfect. Now see what I'm saying right there is I took 10% off and I ended up to the left of the cup, but that looks like it's one ring to the left of the cup. And when I wasn't taking the 10% off, it looked like I was farther off because I keep hitting it great left into this hole, and I was farther off, so I was over pulling it. And that's why I'm saying I'm going to take off 10% because I think I'm over pulling it when I was doing a standard adjustment. One of these days, maybe one of these days, I'll hit a perfect into this hole and I'll actually be able to tell what the hell's going on. But I did put on my notes here that I want to be a little short on ball guide. So the ball guide was lying a little bit because I was terminating like right at the cup, and then it was rolling past at such a speed that it may go in the hole if it rolled over the edge of the hole, but it was just at that point where it might bounce over it, where it might bounce off the flagpole. So a little teeny short with the ball guide, rolling it up to the cup. Distance is really key. All right, here we go. I still got work on that hole. And the work on that hole is just I need to hit it perfect. I feel absolutely 100% comfortable with the drive. I brought the right club, the right ball, in the right spot. I got my speed right. And it's just about hitting it perfect so I can see where my wind adjustments are at. But the goal going to that hole is to get an eagle. My focus is on those par fours. I want to get an eagle on those par fives and give myself a shot for Albie. But I will take the eagle and we'll move on. Okay, this hole right here, hole number, this is the first of the Glen Monarch holes. All right, where was I? So this hole right here, which hole are we looking at here? We're looking at Glen Monarch hole number 1. Let's get on the right hole. All right, so normally on this hole, it's not that you can't hit from back here, but I never really liked this shot. I never really liked it. From the upper divisions, I played over here a lot, and then brought it around. And this is a low percentage shot over here because you're more than likely going to have to put curl on. Anytime you use the word curl in a shot, it's with this ball guide, this curl guide that I have here and the ticks that are on here. If I'm having to use curl on something, I can go in here and I can place a tick for that so that I can at least have some semblance of being able to repeat the shot. But when you're doing curl, whenever you use the word curl, that shot is almost non-repeatable. You may hit it one time, you may get the curl absolutely right. And so if you can go into the cup and not use curl, you're always better off. I use curl a lot when I'm driving, but if you watch my stuff regularly, you notice that I don't use a lot of curl when I'm coming into the hole. So I want to try and go straight at it. So our normal spot's right here and we're hitting it straight at it. No side spin. And so our landing area down here, let's see if I can zoom a little closer. Our landing area down here here's the pin, and to draw that line, you're right in this area right here. And so your pull, you only have 2 rings. Or let's break this down. I'm using a sniper, so it's 1 mile per hour per ring. So I have 2 rings or 2 miles per hour that I can adjust out before I encounter the sand. When you encounter the sand and you go over that lip, here's the rough, and then it drops down into the sand. As soon as you encounter that lip, it goes from here to here, and it makes a jump, and it jumps to about anywhere between 1.9, 2.0 to about 2.5 to 2.6. So if you got to make a 2.3 wind adjustment, you can't make it because you're in this no man's land. So instead of coming out, and I have no idea, what I'm going to do is I have no idea where the setup is going to be out here, but I'm using a low wind 1 side spin ball. I'm using a turkey ball. And if you don't have any turkey balls, you can use a quasar or a navigator because it'll cut the wind down. And I'm moving it to the left. And I'm going to put on the max side spin on that ball. If you've got a 2 side spin ball, you won't need max. You'll want to dial it up and figure out what that number is. But if you can get over here instead of over here, and you're using side spin to come to the hole, you've got this much space instead of this much space to pull out the wind. So over here, you have anywhere between 3 and 3.5 rings to pull out the wind. So you have a little bit better way of coming at it. We're just having to add side spin. So it's a minor adjustment, but I'm trying to effectively deal with the way that the wind's blowing in the tournament. So if you're having problems in that spot with that sand, move it over and add a little bit of side spin, which is something we don't normally do on that shot. We don't normally have to put side spin on. I'm bringing the turkey balls. And it's sniper 1.2 per ring. I'm in mid club. I'm doing a 10% wind adjustment. And out of control. Let's check them out. Let's see if I go first or they go first. 1.1. 1.1. Out of control goes first. Let's check my opponent out. Got some. Look at how many games they've played. Played a lot of lower level stuff with only 18 million won with 10,000 games. So that means they've earned 9 million in 10,000 games. And how many wins did they have? 9 million divided by 78, 71. Will tell you approximately how much they've won per game they've won, and then you round that up to the next tour. So if it's like 32,000, then it would be like whatever the next tour is. They're living in between those two tours. Can give you a really good indication of how good the clubs are for your opponent. I really never really pay attention to my opponent. I'm playing the course, not my opponent. Okay, 1.6 equals divided by 1.2. I'm going to move it 1.5 rings. And I can actually go straight at it with that wind. It's 1 and a sliver of backspin. Be on this side of the cup. And it's 1.5 rings. So I don't have to do the other adjustment because I'm good here. 1.5 rings. And if we hit it perfect, we're in the hole. Now, okay, I hit it from the right to the left, and I hit one ring, or I hit it great. I hit it from the left to the right. I hit it to the right. Somewhere, I swear, somewhere in there's a perfect. So that's one of those things where I have a backup plan if the wind is too high. If the wind is over 2, if the wind works out to be where I have to make a ring adjustment that's over 1.9, then I'm going to move it over and use side spin. And if the wind works out so that it's less than 1.9, I can stay in that spot. So I want to have a backup plan there so that if I get into that trouble, I don't have to scramble. I can immediately switch to plan B. And it's the same thing on the last par 3. You need to have a backup plan because the wind there is the same thing where you can use your 0 power ball. And if you don't have any low wind balls, you'll hit the red line. If you're not in a clan, and this is the hole right here where you're up against your red line. You see where my red line is with a 2 power ball, so it's right there. If you're not in a clan, you're like in the old days where you have one bag. There are benefits. Really, the truth is that the only benefits to being in a clan is that you get more gems per chest that you open, and you get access to multiple bags, and that right there is big. It's disappointing that they haven't. We've been around for 20 months now, and they haven't done more with the clans. My anticipation is as soon as they get Granite Point, hole number 4, as soon as they get all of the divisions incorporated, as soon as they get Masters 3, my hope is that they're going to start doing something else with the clans, adding on some stuff for us, but we will see. All right, this hole right here, I'm trying to, normally I would just lay up right here, but the way that the wind's blowing, it would be beneficial to try and get out here a little bit more so that we can get a pure tailwind. And I'm seeing a lot of people hit over here, and I do not understand that. You have to pay attention to which way the wind's blowing. The last tournament, the wind was blowing like this, and this layup shot was a perfect shot with pure backwind going into the hole. I was talking to Dale Appleby last night. We talked on the phone for about an hour and a half late last night, and he's playing an expert, and he's talking about drift. And we were talking about the thing about drift is if you watch the wind, and you can get out to this spot right here. If the wind was blowing this way in expert, and you can get out to this spot right here, you got pure tailwind. And guess what you have when you have pure tailwind? No drift. Okay. If you're hitting against side wind and it's a 12 side wind, you're going to have some kind of drift. So if you're trying to eliminate drift, instead of hitting it out into here, hit it right here. And now you've got, so watch the wind and play accordingly. Use the wind to your advantage instead of hitting to a spot where the wind now becomes a disadvantage. I'm taking, and I could get farther out there with an extra mile, but I really do. One of the reasons I don't normally like to hit out into that area and try and get that extra distance is because you've got to hit between the sand and the rough out there. And if you're off trajectory just a little bit with an extra mile or a less accurate club, then you're in the rough or you're in the sand. And I want to try and minimize epic fails by using a 100% accurate club. If you aim right down the middle of the fairway and you hit it great to the left or right, you're still going to go through the fairway. If you're using an extra mile and you hit it one ring great to the left or the right, you could easily end up in the sand or the rough. So I'm not going to get quite as much distance as I would like, but I'm going to pick up half the distance that I would like and try and make this shot a little safer. I want to go right down through the middle, right at the red line. It's 3.1. It's 3.1. I'm going to put that little bit of distance back on there. I'm going to just rub up against the nubs. I'm not going to make the needle go any faster. But anything I can pick up is something I can pick up. Right now I have no fear that that's going to end up anywhere other than the fairway because a one ring great. And I think we might actually want to add on 10% on that drive. And I'm going to make a note change because I think we do need, because that should have been a little bit more to the left. That is plus 10% on both shots. And I've almost got pure tailwind, but not quite. And I'm hitting a Hornet. And I should be at minimum club, 2.2 per ring. And I'm doing a 10% wind adjustment. I've almost got pure tailwind. There's min club. Come forward just a ring because I don't need much. I'm going to dial that sucker up to the cup. I'm going to put it right in the cup. It's 3.2. That'd be 3.5. It's 2.2 per ring. And that leaves me 13. There's a half. That's 11. So it's 1 and a little over a half. A titch over a half. Hitting it perfect. In the hole. Woo! If I don't hit any shots perfect today other than these 3 par 4s going into the hole, I'll be happy. I mean, I obviously want to hit perfect on these other ones, but the 3 par 4s are the holes that I am really super, super laser focused on. And those are holes we have to pick up. They're super pick upable. Okay? We can get in a very consistent spot. We can put ourselves in a perfect club, either minimum short iron, which is super accurate, or maximum wedge. And if you hit those perfect, you're in the hole. And I am I think I'm like 50 cards short of getting my Hornet maxed out, and you get a little bit more on it. All right. That was hole number 5. All right, let's see where we're at here. We're on hole number 6. Hole number 6. All right. My worker just got here, so I'm going to pause it and I'll be back. All right, let me try and get one more hole in. We're on a net break here, so let's see where we're at. We're on hole number 6. Hole number 6. Any rhythm I had is now gone. All right, hole number 6. Drew Moore Links. Where was I? Drew Moore Links. This is the last of the Drew Moore Links holes. And this is the this hole right here. I played it different. I was coming out trying to do a rep. I wanted to see what the look looked like. I had, just wanted to see what the look looked like, and played that at the beginning of the week. And yesterday I came out here and I got a little greedy. So what I did was I've noticed that if I'm hitting it with my extra mile, I'm going to bring a Kingmaker to cut the wind down a little bit, but it does carry a little bit further in here. So I'm going to do, because I'm more concerned about ending up out here than I'm concerned about ending up like this out here is not as important. I'm trying to do it with no overpower. And I took the wind out, and then I put the forward moving wind back in, and then I hit it 2 rings great to the left and clipped this. And then it was a misadventure after that. I did get the eagle, but it was like super close. So let's just not get greedy. I just want to get out there and end up in the middle of the freaking fairway. I want to see where I'm at in my club, because if I want to get a long iron, I may want to use some overpower. I'm going to bring a power 4 ball. You can do this with a power 3. I'm using a vintage ball because I don't really need the side spin, but the wind resistance will help, especially on the shot going in. Trying to hit and let's look at that ball one more time here. Is that the ball? Is that the ball? Power 3. I had put vintage on there, but really what I really want to hit is a power 4 ball. What power 4 balls do I have? Power 4. And I want to cut the wind down, so I'm looking for a power 4 3 wind if I have it. I'm not sure. Maybe this one. Power 4 3 wind. Man, that seems like a waste of a Kingmaker X because I really don't need that side spin. Power 3. I don't even know what these balls are up here. It's been so long since I don't normally hit with a lot of special stuff. And this is one of the oldest balls in the game. And this is what the special balls looked like when they first came out. They were nothing special. But we were so excited. I think that maybe was the 2nd or 3rd special ball ever to come out. I guess I don't have any 4 power 3 wind. I really would just like to hit it with a 4 power ball. 4 power. Okay, there we go. Season 17. I got 4 of those, so I can only use. Oh, we're in the opening round, so I could use that. I could do that. Let me write that down. 17. Season 17. Cross out that vintage. Let's make sure. Let's look at it one more time. 4 3. Okay. We're good. And I may need, if I'm not out there far enough, I may need a little bit of side spin on the back to bring it around. And let's make sure, just check my bag here. I'm going to use this bag right here. What were you thinking? What were you thinking? All right, here we go. Here we go. Walking out on the course. Playing some Golf Clash. Hitting Albies, of course. My nephew's here. The Mr. No Bueno man is here. He's shaking his head. All right, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to just try and get out there as far as I can. I'm going to come over a little bit. So I'm 2 rings off of that transitional surface. 3 7. I'm going to do a 10% wind adjustment. That's a 4. I'm going to go a little over 2 rings. And I'm going to give it some curl to bring it back to the fairway on the other side. Hit it 1 ring great on the right. If I'm going to hit it 1 ring greater the other, that's the side I'd rather hit it great on. And look at the distance. I got plenty of room down there. Plenty of room. Seems like it's pinching up down there on the left-hand side, and it's carrying a little bit farther than you want it to. And so not only did I, now that I look at it, not only in the qualifying round did I clipped the rough right here, and it went over the sand and ended up right here, and I was actually in the fairway, but I came at it from the little island on the left, which is not normally how I play that shot. And I tried to do like a second bounce rough bump, and I hit it like 700 rings great to the right and ended up in the rough and had to chip it in from the rough. But I actually thought I had brought out a 4 power ball, and I brought out a 4 wind ball. And they should be fine from there. They're going to have to bring it around, or they're going to have to do that rough bump that I was practicing the other day, and I did not like that rough bump at all. And I'm going to try taking off 10% of the wind, and I am in my grizzly. That was a goal here. So I'm way into my grizzly. I'm right at max grizzly. I'm going to take off 10% of the wind. So it's 3-7. I'm going to count that as 4, so it'll be 3-3. Do a 3-3 pull. Try and hit it perfect. Let's see if I can hit one of these in perfect. I haven't hit one of these in perfect on these 2 par 5s all week. Hitting it perfect. Wow. There is a perfect on that scale. Okay, so the way the wind was there is I didn't pull out enough of the wind. So I've been wanting all week long because I'm always just a little bit off on the left-hand side on a full adjustment. And so I'm taking where I'm over pulling the way that the wind was. I was over pulling, and right there taking 10% off, that was an under pull. So I'm going to change that -10, and I'm going to change it to a -5. And I'm going to keep working that down, and I may end up back at 0. But the deal is that I kept hitting it in there with, in regular play, I kept hitting it in there with a normal adjustment, and I was just off of the cup. And so the deal is if you're always off the cup and you're always just off the cup and you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, you're going to keep being off the cup over and over and over. And what's that rule? If you keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, you're insane. So I am not crazy. I'm going to start changing stuff. That was a much easier eagle than what I got in the qualifying round, I can tell you that. Much, much easier. Much more better. You got to really watch your speed here because I'm seeing a lot of people roll past the cup, and the only thing that's saving people from ending up in that rough is there's a lip on that fairway out there. It's super easy to roll because it's fringe, a little teeny fairway strip, and bam, you're in the rough. So it's really, I would rather be short and chipping it up than to be in that rough on the backside. So really watch your distance on that. If you hit that and you're back where my opponent was at, where you hit it long like that, really look at your topspin and change that number. And the deal is that with lower developed clubs, it's very easy with lower developed clubs is here's the cup, and you don't have ball guide. So you run your stuff right up to the cup, and you're not seeing the end of your ball guide. This is why if you've got 2.9 or 3.1 ball guide, and that grizzly right there's got what, 4.2 or 4.1, I can run it right up to the cup because I can see the ball guide. If you're taking your 3.1 club and running it up to the cup, it's going to run past it. So be very cognizant of your distance there because you do not want to overshoot that and end up in the rough. All right, that was hole 6. All right, I put one in. I'll be back. Thanks for watching.